Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's virtual field day. I'd like to thank you all for joining. I'm Liz Ripley, the Conservation and Cover Crop Outreach Specialist with the Iowa Learning Farms. We are based on campus here at Iowa State University. We were established in 2004 with the goal of building a culture of conservation. That means we're working with farmers and landowners across the state, as well as many of our agency partners and researchers here at Iowa State, to investigate and implement conservation practices on our landscape that improve not only water quality, but soil health, while helping those systems remain profitable. So I'm thrilled today to be hosting this virtual field day, and all of our outreach events are made possible thanks to the many partners that have helped support us in those last 21 years. They include our Iowa Department of Agriculture and Land Stewardship, the USDA Natural Resources Conservation Service, Iowa State University Extension and Outreach, the Iowa Department of Natural Resources US EPA Section 319 funding, the Iowa Nutrient Research Center, GrowMark, the Conservation Districts of Iowa, the Iowa Soybean Association, the Leopold Center for Sustainable Agriculture, and I'd like to give a specific shout out for today for the Sea Change Grass to Gas project that is helping fund not only the research that we're highlighting here, but also today's event. So throughout today, as we get started, we're going to head to the field for a video that was recorded on a much warmer day than we have here in Iowa. And then following that, Hyeonji is going to be sharing some additional information, and we'll open the floor to questions. So feel free to submit your questions at any time to the chat, and we'll get those answered here following the video. After today's virtual field day, you will be receiving an email evaluation. Anticipate taking only about 5 minutes. We really appreciate the feedback that you all give us on these events as we work to continue to improve them. So I'd like to quickly introduce our speaker today. Hyeonji Song is a postdoctoral research associate in the Department of Agronomy here at Iowa State University, who's actually joining us halfway around the world in South Korea. So I appreciate you all tuning in today. And without further ado, we're going to head to the field with Hyeonji.
Hello, I'm Hyeonji Song, postdoctoral researcher at the Department of Agronomy, and while I'm working on Sea Change project, so mainly I'm working at prairie field. Sea Change program project is mainly about development anaerobic digestate for producing biomethane gas. So for making aerobic digestate, we need manure and prairie, like biomass. So now I'm working on prairie to see is it a change the nitrous oxide emission from agriculture area. So why agriculture should care nitrous oxide emission? Because nitrous oxide is one of major greenhouse gas, and it has higher impact on global warming. Actually, greenhouse gas is essential for lives in Earth. However, if its concentration is excessive, so it can warm up, it can heat up the Earth. Nitrous oxide is really strong greenhouse gas, and agriculture accounts for 50% of nitrous oxide emission. So we should care about nitrous oxide emission. Nitrous oxide from agriculture is mainly by fertilizer application. So to get more prairie grass biomass, we can add fertilizer. So we want to know if the fertilization can increase nitrous oxide emission from prairie grassland. So our core hypothesis is even we add nitrogen fertilizer in prairie grassland, it will not increase nitrous oxide emissions. So it will be a very promising way to develop digestate, anaerobic digestate. So conventionally, for gas measurement, we usually collect the gas from field site and move them to lab, and then we use like gas chromatography, something like that. but now in this project, we are doing measurement with portable nitrous oxide analyzer. So today I'd like to show how to use this machine, in the field site in real time. This prairie field was established in 2008, so it's been around 16 years old. So now in June is really perfect season to see around this prairie grassland. This mint color, this green colors, we called soil colors. So we installed like about 5 inches into soil, so we can make a like closed condition for this soil. So we can collect greenhouse gas emission from this soil. So this is smart chamber, and this is portable CO2 gas analyzer, and this is portable nitrous oxide analyzer. So we can use this smart chamber by connecting with mobile phone with Wi-Fi. I can control this smart chamber, and then I can analyze carbon dioxide and nitrous oxide in real time. So I can show you how to do that. So I can put on this smart chamber under these green soil colors. And then using my mobile phone, I can close it. Yeah, now it is closing. So by closing this space, we can make fully sealed, fully closed conditions. So soil gas from this portion can be sucked up by these chambers, by these analyzers, pumps. So now it functions like vacuum seal. So the gas moves through this hose and then goes inside. And then now we can see nitrous oxide concentration right now is 336 parts per billion. This is around 400 parts per billion. So we can see right now the flux of carbon dioxide right now in my mobile phone. So it is real-time gas measurement system. So it's really comfortable, because conventionally we should take gas from field and then moves to them into field lab condition, and then we should move them to like something specific jars, so we can use it for gas chromatography or FTI or something like that. So it is really portable and very high technical tools for at the field site. I usually use these tools weekly, and after fertilization, because the nitrous oxide emission gets higher, so I usually use this one like 3 times in a week to twice in a week. As temperature goes up, nitrous oxide emission and particularly carbon dioxide emission is increasing. And but normally, it's done. So it will go up, and then it's cleaning inside, and then it will wait for for the next tube. So I can do like continuously, like number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. This is like a soil temperature and moisture detector sensor. So I can put it inside of soil. So I can see the temperature and moisture of soil in real time as well. And all the data will be saved in this smart chamber. So I can take out all the data from my laptop. So I can make very nice graph for nitrous oxide or carbon dioxide with my software. I haven't collected this data for 2 years from last year, so I got really nice data with these tools for last year. Even after fertilizer application, prairie has very, very much low emission of nitrous oxide compared to corn or corn field. So we can get some insight that even fertilized prairie is really helpful to reduce nitrous oxide emission, and it is really promising overall ecosystem to make anaerobic digestate.
Hello everyone. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're great. Yes, thank you, Hyeonji. We are transitioning now to some additional information that Hyeonji was going to share with us via these slides. But if you have questions at any point, feel free to submit those in the chat and we'll get to them shortly. So take it away, Hyeonji.
Yeah, thank you, Liz. I'd like to explain more detailed about the sea change project. So, as I mentioned in the video, for anaerobic digestion, we need feedstock to produce biomethane gas. So, as a feedstock, corn and sugarcane has been used, but for cultivate these crops, these annual crops, lots of fertilizer um, can be applied into soil, so it can deteriorate water quality and it can produce higher greenhouse gas emission. And it also has lower, shallow, short root system, so it can destroy soil health because of destroy soil health. So as the next one, so as a cat as a like alternative feedstock, so perennial grass can be used. So because they have a bigger and deeper root system, unlike corn or sugarcane, so they can reduce soil erosion, and also they can hold more nutrient, so they can reduce nutrient loss. So if we move to the next slide, this is the nitrogen cycle in soil. I made this figure to simplify the nitrogen cycle. So um, nitrous oxide can be produced from denitrification. So denitrification means nitrate can be transformed to nitrate, and um, this nitrate also can be leached through water flow. So nitrate is really important. Um, can be nutrient source, or it can be source of greenhouse gas. So controlling the nitrate and the precursor of uh, nitrate, it can be ammonium, can be really important factor to regulate nitrous oxide emission. And also by plant uptake, the availability of nitrate can be changed. So this very dynamic nitrogen cycle can affect nitrous oxide emission. So grassland also can affect the availability of nitrate. So it can change, so the desertification and plant uptake and leaching could be changed. So, but I only focused on the nitrate denitrification into nitrous oxide. So can we move on to the next slide? Yeah, and as I simply mentioned about nitrous oxide in the video, it is main greenhouse gas, and global warming potential means the power to accelerate global warming. So the standard is carbon dioxide. So one nitrous oxide can have 273 um, 3 of carbon dioxide. So it is really strong because it can survive. It can exist in atmosphere over 100 years, and it can destroy ozone layer, and it can hold more solar energy than carbon dioxide. And when it comes to global greenhouse gas emission, Nitrous oxide accounts for only 6%, but its power, I mean, global warming potential is really big, so we cannot ignore the nitrous oxide emission. And when it comes to global anthropogenic nitrous oxide sources, um, agriculture accounts for almost half of almost half of the nitrous oxide production. So, agriculture sector should consider the nitrous oxide emission, and we should figure out how to reduce the nitrous oxide emission. Yeah, can we move next slide? Yeah, so far, as I showed in the video, I measured nitrous oxide from the field sites using this smart chamber system. So I can show very simple data um, from this measurement. So the right graph shows the cumulative nitrous oxide flux during corn or prairie growing season. So the pink line means corn and soybean rotation, which is really representative crop rotation in Iowa. And UP means unfertilized prairie grassland, and FP means fertilized prairie. So from here, we can observe, compared to corn and soybean rotation, prairie has a much lower nitrous oxide emission. So and even a fertilized prairie, nitrous oxide emission really low than corn and soybean rotation. So we can see prairie can be a uh, very promising alternative feedstock to produce biomethane gas because we need more further research, but it might be from its deeper root system, so it can reduce nitrogen nitrate availability. Um, so it is really effective to reduce nitrous oxide compared to corn and soybean rotation. So yeah. That's all I prepared for today. So I really welcome your comments or questions about this work. Yeah.
You're muted, Liz.
Thank you. So I was trying to not have everyone hear my typing as I was encouraging folks to get their questions in. So thank you for that. We have had some questions. The first one being, how does the nitrogen applied to the prairie, so the amount of nitrogen fertilizer applied, compare to the amount that's normally used or applied to your row crops?
Yeah, that's great question. So for fertilized prairie, around 100 pounds of per acre uh, nitrogen fertilizer was applied. And normally for corn, around 200 pounds per acre usually applied for corn. So it's about double. Yeah. Half of nitrogen fertilizer can be applied in the fertilized prairie grassland.
There's a couple questions here specifically about the device that you use to measure the nitrous oxide. Could you repeat the name or the type of instrument that was used?
Yeah, mainly I used smart chamber connected with portable nitrous oxide detector. I mean nitrous oxide analyzer. So the smart chamber can make closed condition to suck up uh, gas from soil, and then through the some hose, which is connected with smart chamber. The gas can flow into the nitrous oxide analyzer. So the analyzer can analyze nitrous oxide concentration, yeah, in real time.
And I'm gonna go back to sharing the screen because it does have that picture of that chamber. So folks
Yeah.
could go look at what that is. And while we're here, there was a question specifically on this graph. So cumulative nitrous oxide flux versus month. What are the vertical dashed lines? Are those the dates of fertilizer application?
Yeah, right. So, um, the first vertical line means the fertilization of a prairie, and second and third dashed line shows the fertilization on cornfield.
Okay, thank you. Um, So another question here about the device. How do you know that the measurement device itself is not impacting the local production of nitrous oxide?
Local production of nitrous oxide.
That the creating that chamber doesn't impact production of nitrous
Uh,
oxide?
yeah, we also check the pressure of the chamber, and then we also check the temperature inside of chamber, uh, temperature of inside chamber, so we can guess this condition is okay to analyze the nitrous oxide. Mhm.
And kind of stepping back to this, I know the site was established long before you started taking these measurements here, but the rationale, why were you fertilizing the prairie in this project in the first place?
Um, so to have bigger biomass, so we added fertilizer. Uh, Bigger biomass can produce more biomethane gas. So yeah, we try to add a fertilizer in prairie grassland.
Uh, so how was the fertilizer applied to the prairie? Is it surface applied? Is it
Yeah,
okay?
surface application.
Do you see any leaf burn when you do that type of fertilizer application? I guess I'm assuming that this was some sort of synthetic fertilizer, or is this manure?
Synthetic fertilizer.
Okay. And do you see any leaf burn as it's surface applied?
Leaf burn. Yeah, before um the prairie grows, we applied fertilizer. So I didn't see any leaf burn.
So
Mm,
for what would be up in early April was small enough to not be damaged by the
yeah,
application.
right.
Okay. So this question is, and you're feel free to answer it, but I'm also going to direct folks to yesterday's webinar with Dr. McDaniel.
Mhm.
So the question is, would it be logical that cover cropping could reduce N2O emissions in cornfields, especially compared to traditional non-cover crop fields? Because I know you're also collecting
Um,
data on that system as well.
s- um, that is very great question. So from my data set, in the first year, cover crop has a reducing effect of nitrous oxide, but in the second year, which is this last year, technically last year, there was not big differences. So that is a very curious thing for me as well. So now I'm analyzing other soil properties like nitrate availability, and also microbial activity, and also the carbon can be used by microbes. So from that data set, I couldn't see big differences compared to the with cover crop or without cover crop. So I'm still digging the data. So I couldn't clearly say right now, but um, I guess cover crop can have some impact in soil structure, like aggregates. So I think that can be one reason to change uh, the nitrous oxide emission.
And in just a moment, I'll also put in a chat for everyone to check out that webinar yesterday as Dr. McDaniel looked at both nitrate and nitrous
Mhm.
oxide at
Mhm.
the Cobb's site. And I know at Cobb's, just because he presented on it yesterday, but
Mhm.
you have the systems that you showed here, the corn and soybean, fertilized, unfertilized prairie, and then there's
Mhm.
continuous corn
Mhm.
with and without cover crops. Are you doing any of these nitrous oxide measurements on a corn soy versus corn soy with a cover crop?
No, we
Okay.
just have, yeah. Mhm.
Um, so there's definitely some variation in the plant species found out at that site. Have you noticed any difference whether certain prairie plants are better at reducing nitrous oxide emissions than others as you look at the plant diversity within, say, the fertilized and unfertilized prairie? Is there much variation?
Yeah, there's a difference. There's different pr prairie composition in fertilized and unfertilized prairie. So, um, at the early stage, like I mean, early established period, C3 plant was dominant, but it has changed to C4 plant dominant. So, and yeah, simply there's a differences between unfertilized prairie and fertilized prairie.
Is that when you say C3 and C4, is that a measurement of like the number of flowering plants versus grasses, or what's that clarify
That
too?
is differences in photosynthesis reaction process. Yeah, there are some differences. So, yeah, that is not about the flowering stage. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
So was the same for both sets of fertilizer applications for corn and the prairie? What type of fertilizer was it used? Was it all synthetic, or is any manure used in the system?
We used synthetic fertilizer, so we used UAN.
And then were you were you or someone out there also measuring out the plant uptake of the crops? So taking some samples to see how much of the nitrogen is actually being utilized by the growing plant materials.
Uh, that is a great point, but we didn't measure. We also harvested the plant's biomass, and we also measured the nitrogen content in prairie, but we didn't calculate the nitrogen uptake by plant yet. But I think that is great point to look for. Yeah, look for. Yeah,
So it's
looking. Mhm.
yeah. And I know there's definitely some other plots out there. Is there any data out on different perennials in terms of emissions? So there's prairie here in this study, but looking at other perennial crops and how they might impact emissions.
Um, I think so far, our study is the early stage in for measuring the nitrous oxide in prairie and particularly about fertilized prairie. So yeah, I think our study is very special study for now.
Because yeah, I know the lab there, because Andy's on here, they've got other perennials. Are you looking at nitrous oxide emissions from any of your other crops that are growing out there?
Not for other
So
perennial crop.
Hyeonji is not, but our group is. So other folks on our team and some collaborators at other universities in Michigan and Illinois have looked at perennials. And one of the reasons we suspected that the Cobb site was worth studying is because other people have found that perennials have lower losses of nitrogen in general in the water and to the air So this is consistent with those findings, but this is, like Hyeonji said, some of the first measurements on a fertilized prairie system with polyculture.
Awesome. Thanks for clarifying on that one. So if folks are interested in other perennials, definitely tap into Andy's lab here at Iowa State. So there's a question, is there so it's naturally, nitrogen is part of our environment, but is there considered a bad amount of nitrous oxide from any kind of these systems, or is it we're trying to minimize it over a certain level? Like, is there a threshold we want to get to, even in a prairie system, that would be kind of our like baseline where we could expect it to be good
Mm,
emissions?
that is a tricky question. So, now we are trying to figure out the emission factor, which means among the applied fertilizer, how much of nitrous oxide was from the fertilizer. So we are now calculating the emission factor. So we are still on the process to set up the baseline. Yeah.
And then,
So we're trying to minimize, yeah, nitrous oxide, but there's no like very specific standard. This is bad management or good management. We are trying to minimize the nitrous oxide emission.
and you may have covered this a little bit in the video, but I'll ask again for maybe someone who missed that part. But how frequently and like time of year are you go out and collecting these samples?
Um, Basically, I do the measurement weekly, but after fertilization, nitrous oxide emission usually very gets higher. So right after fertilization, I went out about 3 times a week, and then I keep monitoring the emission. So if it's still high, I continuously do the frequent measurement, and if the emission gets lower, yeah, the interval gets longer, like twice a week, and then weekly base.
So on the graph you showed, obviously there's some spikes shortly after application, but there's also a pretty large spike in late July for the corn soybean system. Any thoughts as to why, even a month after application, we see a spike in emissions there? And here, I can pull
Oh,
it up for you if that would be helpful.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's great point. So this part might be after rain, precipitation. So nitrous oxide emission can be really affected by water, soil moisture content. So even after fertilization, if soil is dry, there's no big peak in nitrous oxide emission, but if soil moisture gets higher, yeah, the nitrous oxide emission can get higher. So I think this time point, the water content in soil might be very high.
yeah.
Mhm.
And this was 2025, correct?
This is 2024.
Okay. So yeah, I think there were some late season
Mm.
rains in 24 as well as 25. All right. Well, I think caught up with some of the questions in the chat. So feel free, folks, to keep those coming in. We've got time for a few more questions if you've got them. I am going to throw a few more logistical slides here as folks get those questions in. So if you would like to receive a CCA CEU by attending today's virtual field day, please feel free to email me by 5 p.m. today that I can get that submitted for you, and I will get my email here entered into the chat so folks can copy and paste that, as it's not always easy to spell out. So feel free to get me that information to get your CCA CEU by 5 p.m. today. I'd also invite you, if you have not done so already, to complete our voluntary demographic survey as part of a USDA-funded program. You can either scan the code on your screen now or simply visit that URL, iowalearningfarms.org/survey. And you only need to do this once, so if you've already done it as a webinar attendee in 2026, thank you. We appreciate you filling that out for us. All right, so we're going to keep the focus on prairie as we host our upcoming virtual field day on February 12th. I hope you all can join us then. We're going to explore how to establish and manage prairie with Carl Kurtz, who has over 50 years of prairie management experience. So that's a great opportunity to tap into that knowledge as well. All right, so let's see if a couple more questions have come in here. So what are some ideas for the future of this study? What's next?
Oh, that's very great question. So, actually, nitrous oxide emission can be uh, influenced by many factors like microbial activity and nitrate availability and some other decomposable carbon or nitrogen, and also moisture and water content, moisture and temperature. Also CO2 as well. So we're trying to we're planning to figure out which factor is really has big impact on nitrous oxide emission, particularly for fertilized prairie grassland. Mm.
Wonderful. Well, I think I've caught up with questions. If folks would like to learn more about the Grass to Gas project, they can do so. Probably the easiest way is to just search online for Iowa State Grass to Gas. You can find the Sea Change website there to find out all the great things going on with that project to develop renewable natural gas through biomass. So prairie being one of those, using winter cereals like cover crops are another pathway for this. So this project is wrapping up, but we look forward to seeing new and future ideas that are connected with it, including some of our future online events here with Iowa Learning Farms. So with that, I will allow Hyeonji or even Andy, if you have any final things you'd like to share with the group before we sign off today.
I would like to give Hyeonji some extra credit for tuning in at 3:30 local time for this presentation. Thank you, Hyeonji,
Yes.
for doing that from so far away at such a different time zone. And thank you for having us today, Liz. I appreciate that.
My pleasure.
Hyeonji, would you like to say anything else?
Thank you for everyone to join this virtual field day. Yeah, I'm really happy that I'm really amazed that many people joined this field day, and then um I feel more responsibility on my research, and realize how I contribute to very practical practices for farmers. Yeah, there was really good chance to think about that. Yeah, thank you for joining today.
And thank you so much, Hyeonji. Wishing you the best of luck.
Thank you.